Okay, so what you're going to be learning in this video are the 3 essential tips that women need in order to rebuild resilience in a time of crisis or challenge. So if I can say, perhaps put your hand up if you've had a really challenging year, or perhaps if you've been experiencing stress, overwhelm, frustration, fatigue. This is all a pretty common experience for women, especially over 2020, and I'd like to share just the really key things that you need to know if you want to build your resilience and start to feel more energy, more enthusiasm and more vitality in your life. Now, these essential tips have really started from my own journey. My own journey was that 5 years ago I experienced the tragic death in my immediate family. Now, I went from a happy, organised, energetic woman to a place of complete bedridden despair. I could barely function in my daily life. I couldn't work. I had depression, grief, and to top it all off, because of the trauma I had experienced, also suffered severe memory loss, brain fog, confusion and overwhelm. On top of all of that, I constantly questioned myself to ask, if I'd done anything different, would something have changed? What could I have done to change this? So I was starting to internally blame myself for the current situation that we were in. Now you can imagine being in that situation, no one wants to live with grief and despair, and I did spend a lot of time seeking counselling support, going through support groups, vitamin B, yoga, running, being at the ocean, all of these things to try and lift myself out of my deep hole that I found myself in. And none of these things, in actual fact, individually gave me any relief from my despair. I recall feeling at that point, right throughout that journey for those first few months, like I was at the bottom of the ocean, completely unable to breathe, and looking up to the surface, just asking the question, am I ever going to make it to the top again? Am I ever going to surface and be able to breathe? And I started to question myself and ask, how long is this going to last? Like, am I going to survive? What's happening to my brain? How am I ever going to make my way out of here? And it was then at that point that a girlfriend actually asked me onto a yoga retreat, and I remember at that time simply pausing and kind of having a little bit of resistance to taking some time out for myself. It was a bit of a foreign concept, and I also had this subtle underlying belief that with everything that had happened to my family and everything that had happened to us, that somehow I wasn't worthy. Like I wasn't worth a second chance. I didn't deserve any joy or any love again. And it was essentially at this crossroads that I realised if I don't take action and make a change or step in a different direction, I've only got one pathway that I'm heading down, and that's down a long pathway that is lonely and perhaps destroys my relationship or my health. So at this crossroads, I had to take action and take a step in a different direction. Of course, I didn't know what that was going to look like. So heading out onto this yoga retreat with my girlfriend, I was a little bit anxious. I didn't know what it would be like to step into an environment with a whole new group of women, knowing that I had sadness and anxiety and grief in the mix. And nobody wants to be around a woman like that, and I was well aware of that. But I knew if I didn't take action and take a different path, that I was only heading in one direction. So the first most important piece of information that you need to know if you want to build resilience in rising up from a challenge is to know, number one, you are worthy of a second chance. You are worthy of love. No matter what you have or haven't done in your life, you are worthy. And the second most important thing is to understand that you need to take some time out. Press pause. Don't keep running, struggling, distracting yourself, trying to cope. Taking time out to pause. And we all have heard the saying before, secure your own oxygen mask before helping others. But and I roll my eyes when I hear that, actually, because I always think it sounds ridiculous, because if you were going down in a plane, of course you'd want to secure your oxygen mask onto your kids first. But in actual fact, the reason they give that information is because it's true. If you don't secure your own oxygen mask and start to take time out to look after your own health in times of crisis or challenge, then you've got no reserve. So knowing that you're worthy of a second chance, and knowing that yes, you are entitled to press pause, refuel the tank, secure your own oxygen mask, and start to nurture your own health are the two most important steps. Now from here, I like to describe what I call the Rise Up method, which does help to then give women the opportunity or the framework to figure out how to rise up and find their strengths and build on their resilience. And this method is basically like a little bit like a pyramid. If you can imagine the Egyptian pyramids, they never fall down. They've been there for a long time, and that's because the base is so wide and so stable. So the stable base that you need as a woman trying to build up on your resilience and overcome a life challenge would be to get your body health, your mind health, and your heart health back on track. Now, there are lots of methods that I share in my women's retreat on how to start doing that for yourself, but understanding that in times of crisis, your body health can often go out the window. So your nutrition can go out the window, your sleep health can go out the window, exercise goes out the window. And I recall in my own journey that my nutrition went out the window. It was like I found myself wandering around the house just eating peanut butter on toast aimlessly in circles. So your nutrition will often go out the window when you're in times of crisis. So learning key methods to try and help you build on your body health and your mind health and your heart health, including your nutrition, your sleep and your exercise for your body, understanding what is involved in your mind health. And that just doesn't include your mental health, it also includes your mindset, your self-talk, all of the things that go through your brain. And when you're in a crisis, your brain is often very stressed, and as soon as you're experiencing high levels of stress, you have usually symptoms of overreactivity, shortness with people, lack of empathy. All of these things happen as symptoms of stress, and it just means part of the brain is not functioning as best it can. So we've all experienced that when we've been having periods of stress, is that we do cut people off or fail to see all signs, and that's one of the things that can be changed with some really simple strategies designed to build on your mind health. Your heart health is another part of this framework, and your heart health includes things like your connection to something greater than yourself, connections to others, and also connections to yourself. It also looks at your emotional health. Now from here, this synergy framework or this Rise Up framework, ultimately we need to then figure out what do you value most in life, what are your strengths and how can you use them, and then how do you want to feel and how do you want to create that. So if you take one of my patients, Michelle, who came to me in my clinic, now she came to me with an onset of lower back pain, but she was also experiencing financial stress and going through a relationship breakup, which eventually ended up in a divorce. Now she shares with me when she moved out of her family home and into her own place, a moment where she was trying to put together the IKEA furniture and it was on the floor just in pieces. And as she's sitting on the floor looking at this tipped out furniture, she just had this realization that that's how her life felt, like a tipped out jigsaw puzzle, and she didn't even know where to begin to start putting it together. Her relationship with her children had suffered, her social networks had become smaller, she was losing her self-confidence, her health was suffering. So there were pieces everywhere, and she approached me and we went through, obviously as a physiotherapist, I went through some ways of helping her with her back pain, but then we took her through really the step-by-step process in the Rise Up method. And that started by looking at her mind, body and heart health, but then also guiding her through what she values, how she can find her strengths. Now all of these things are included in our 3-day Rise Up Women's Retreat on the beautiful Sunshine Coast. Now this retreat includes 3 nights accommodation, 3.5 days together. It includes all of your food. It includes yoga, Pilates and meditation. Now if you've never meditated before, don't worry. We teach you a very simple strategy, very simple process that you can take some basic tips in meditation to calm your own nervous system, and you can start using that as soon as you get home. So, and the retreat also includes a guided step-by-step process that you can take yourself through in order to start rising up through life's challenges. It also includes some pampering treats and surprises, as well as some great rest time, which I think is essential for women. Now, we took Michelle through this process, and ultimately she started to regain her confidence. She now has a better relationship with her children and her ex-husband, and has finally started the small business that she's always wanted to start. So she now feels lighter, freer, with more vitality and enthusiasm for life once more. So if you'd like to know a little bit more about the Rise Up method and the women's retreat that we hold on the Sunshine Coast, then you need to contact us at synergyphysio.com.au. Just look at our events page. My name's Nicole Hamilton. I'm a physiotherapist with over 20 years of experience in helping women rise up through life's challenges. I'm a mindfulness meditation teacher. I'm also a DeMartini facilitator and a yoga teacher, and I combine all of these things plus the 5 years of worldwide dedicated resources that I've put together in this framework to help women. I really look forward to sharing it with you. If you'd like to know any more, then please comment in the link below.